All right, folks, here we go. Another night. We got this Clean Racing League, the ARCA Series here, presented by Grant's Designs. And the guys here tonight, we go from the big track at Daytona, which was a thriller. Go back and watch that one. That last lap pass, Chris Smith making it, winning his first official Clean Racing League race under the banner of Clean Racing League, that is, and bringing it home, beating Caleb Smith to the line. So it's awesome. But tonight, we go to the short track, and I got a guy up here that's really familiar. You see him a lot on Monday nights in the truck, and you see him out there, man, racing a lot. Oh, Joshua Altus, how you doing?
Hey, I'm great, Joe. Thanks for having me tonight, man. I'm really excited to be up in the booth and kind of different perspective for me. So excited to be up here with you and watch some good short track racing here.
Absolutely. You know, and it's, you know, Martinsville, it's one of the oldest tracks. I don't think it's the oldest. Arlington might beat it out, but I'd have to go back and look at my research and all that. But one of the oldest tracks, and it is definitely short track racing. Now, with this car, it's going to be a whole lot different. Maybe kind of similar to the trucks, I want to say.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Martins, I'm a Virginia native, Joe, so I grew up going here twice a year my whole life, and man, nothing's better than short track racing. Like you said, you teed that up real well. Coming from the high banks to Daytona, this is completely opposite of what we saw last week. So I know this is the Clean Racing League, but don't be surprised if we see some bent fenders and hurt feelings by the end of this one.
Bump and run, I love it. You know, I'm old school. Okay, and I'm gonna tell my age. I mean, I go back way back in the '80 days, and you know, the bump and run, the true bump and run. I don't want to see anybody get up there and, you know, put them in a wall or anything like that. But bumping a guy, making him move up the track, and then you taking advantage on the inside. I love it. Now, I know the years, Joshua, and you know, it seems like that's getting frowned upon if you touch me, you know, out here. But no rubbins racing. Short tracks. Oh,
absolutely. I mean, there's a way to do it, right? And you know what we saw in the Xfinity Series earlier this year with Sammy Smith. You know, that's not racing in my opinion. You know, just going straight in the corner and clearing some guy out, not even giving him a chance to make the corner. You know, that's not racing. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with, you know, the chrome horn, as they used to call it, right, Joe? You put a little bumper in, a little beat and bang in, and a little bump and run. But I'll tell you what, if you're gonna bump somebody, you better make sure you're running, and because you're gonna have to look in your mirror and expect it back, right?
You know, and that's the thing, you know, and obviously people back in the day, they bring up the Earnhardts, to bring up, you know, the Walters, to bring up the, you know, the Elliots and all the guys of the day. You know, they were really known for a lot of that stuff back then. There's some really, really good racing. We got qualifying underway right now. I'm going to see who could put it on pole here tonight. Right now, Jacob Grant, he's the man. Grant's Designs. Got to give a shout out, man, to Jacob, who has put this thing together here. You know, we talk about Chris Smith out there, who put together, now is taking over the horns on the Clean Racing League on Monday nights. Has done a great job. But now this is a new series, second race of the year. We had Daytona last week. And, you know, Grant's Designed out there, who does an outstanding job, a lot of the paint jobs. You know, there, Joshua, Monday night, let them here on the nights. A lot of other great sponsors we got here. Platinum Service VA going to be out here. StemRacingMerch.com. Definitely out. JD Brook Farms, man, out there. And then we got to check out. We're working on it, folks. I'm going to get you some clips of the audio. The Turtleback Trailer Boys. That one's going to be a good one there. Obviously, Ghost Athletics, CRL podcast. Check them out. YouTube, Spotify. So a lot of great sponsors out here. Loving it, man. I really am. I think this is going to be good. If anything like it was last week, again, a different style racing this week, but man, that was a thriller.
It was. I unfortunately didn't get a chance to watch the whole race, but we were talking about Chris Smith being able to pull off his first ever career win, and for this series, it's absolutely huge. And I know everyone was giving him a hard time because he's obviously got the helms of the Clean Racing Truck Series, and he's got a ton of starts and hasn't found victory lane in the Truck Series yet. But his first time out in the ARCA Series, he's got it done, and just a credit to him, man. It's I know they say super speedway racing can be a crapshoot, but I do think it requires a very specific set of skills as well. It's one thing to be lucky, but you still have to put yourself in the right position and survive all the chaos, and he did just that and timed his move perfectly on his son at the end there. So pretty cool for the Smith family to finish 1-2 there.
And you talk about Daytona with the Truck Series. Unfortunately, you missed that one, but I talked to Caleb before that race. He actually did really well in that race also. And he said the plan in that race, and this was his words, is to push Chris Smith to the win. Well, after the race, if you're going to watch it, because Chris kind of was in the back most of it, and Caleb was kind of up front, I went, "Hey, Chris, I thought the plan was him to push you." He said, "Well, I never got up there." I said, "Well, maybe he should have came back and got you, man." Well, yeah. they flipped the script on the ARCA Series. They got together and they just went to the front.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's one thing I can tell you about speedway racing is you can plan and have all these plans before the race, and then you drop the green flag, and sometimes you're just never near any teammates. You can ask Rob Sherwood and my S&B boys. They always give me a hard time because we plan and we talk about we're going to run together, and I just want to go, Joe, at super speedways. Like I get excited. I want to get up there and control the field as much as I can, and sometimes those guys like to lay back a little bit more, so they always give me a hard time and say, we all talk about our plans and what we're going to do, but then sometimes once you drop the flag, you got to kind of adapt as the race goes on. But just another huge congratulations to Chris Smith on getting that win last week. And just to piggyback what you earlier, what you said, Joe, but just a big shout out to Jacob Grant and King Grant Designs. He's put a lot of effort into this series, and hard to believe. I've been racing with Jacob for almost 5 years now. Time just absolutely flies. Rob Sherwood and I used to create a series called the S&B Cup Series, and that's where we met Jacob and Chris and all those guys. So, and we've certainly had our fair share of run-ins too, and had rivalries over time, but he's just doing a really great job with this series, and it's only race 2, and looks like qualifying's over, and he's on the pole, Joe.
He is on the pole. Well, let's go with our simracingmerc.com starting grid here tonight, because the man, like you just said, putting it on pole out front, that's going to be Jacob Grant. We got Seth Fowdy going to be the man starting second. Bobby Mantle, he's going to start there in third. Jamie Brett, I hope I said that right. I know it's
That's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a French style name. He's starting in fourth. Bradley Murphy there in the fifth. Chris Smith, look at him. He's going to go for another win here, starting in the sixth place spot. We got Brad Meyer starting seventh. Joseph. Help me on that one.
I don't even know, man. I know Jacob tried to help us pre-race there. So.
Jacob just left the booth. Well, I apologize. You just left the booth. Told me how to say it. Ursky.
We'll get it right eventually.
Ursky, I think it's close. It's close. Tanner Honeycutt.
You snuck us, maybe?
You snuck us or something like that. Yeah. Starting tonight, we got ninth place
right.
man. Tanner Honeycutt starting ninth. Wayne Chapman up there in the 10th place spot. We got Tyler Honeycutt starting 11th. Caleb Smith starting 12th. Abram Ghost, man, he's going to start in the 13th. We got Joshua Gillen 14th. Daniel Miller starting 15th. We got Ross Tatum 16th. Joe Spinelli starting 17th. Daniel Bugurski, I said that right, starting in the 18th spot. We got Zachary Fowdy, he's starting 19th. And then old Rob Sherwood back in the 20th spot. So very good. simracingmerc.com. Go check them out. And also, if you do check them out, Do a promo code CRL 2025. Got to get you some money off on your purchase there. So again, that's CRL 2025 for the promo code. Definitely check out, man, simracingmerc.com. I checked it out. They got some good merc out there. Joshua, some wild looking little derps and bugs and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just so cool to see all these sponsors coming on board for both of these series, and just how much, everything's grown. So really excited. This is a cool little series. We're only race 2, and should be a good one tonight, Joe. We got Jacob Grant on pole, and they're about to come to green here.
Absolutely. Going to green here, man. Lights off on the pace car. Pace car's in. We're going to our Platinum Service VA green flag here tonight for the Grant's Designs ARCA Series. Ought to be a good one as the man himself, Grant's out front. Green flag. About to fly a little bit, little fake up there on the start.
Yeah, it looks like the 07 there looked like he had a chance to take the lead, but Jacob Grant's going to power on the inside and grab the top spot.
He is. Now, the one thing I know about this track is it's inside dominant. Very tough to pass here. Usually we talked about bump and run, or a guy just has to wash up the track, get really tight. But you can see some guys already getting kind of tight, like the 15 machine right there of Jamie. Got really tight going in that turn, went up the track, and that's another way to lose a lot of spots.
Yeah, you don't want to try to rip the top here at all. I mean, maybe as the race goes on, that upper groove could come in just a little bit. But right now, if you're starting kind of on a cold track here, you're going to be too high up in the marbles there, and we see the 15 struggling here.
Yeah, and it's hard to get back on that bottom side. See Wayne's going up underneath him there in the number 43. Meanwhile, still Grant out front. Single file is going to be the norm here. You'll see the kind of little clusters, little pass here and there. But, yeah, this is just typical Martinsville style racing. About the only way I've ever seen a guy go around somebody on the outside is if they just got way newer tires.
Yeah, I think everyone's kind of trying to get all they can get for track position right now. I'm interested to see as the race goes on, and keep an eye on tire wear to see, who's able to kind of manage their right front. Jacob Grant was talking to us before we went live, and he said, the person that can manage that right front tire the best, try to, keep that center roll through the corners is probably going to be really successful.
I know Rob Sherwood's your teammate out there on Monday night. I talk about you two guys a lot. When I talk about it more into pit strategies, because y'all have the most unique style pit strategies I've seen in the truck series. But tonight, qualifying effort, not the best. He started back in 20th, so not sure if he had a problem on qualifying or what, but he's going to definitely have his work cut out for him to try to get through the field.
Yeah, Rob is really good at short tracks, and I don't think he's gotten a lot of laps in. I don't think he raced last week, so this is probably his debut for this series. So knowing Rob, he probably wanted to start out back, and a little contact by the 02 right in front of him. But Rob's a very conservative driver. He's really good on the long runs here. So keep an eye on the 93. I think as the night goes on, he's going to keep getting more and more comfortable, and he'll start picking them off.
It's interesting you talk about that on the long run. That's the number one thing I talk about when I talk about yourself there and Sherwood. When I talk about long run, y'all guys love those long run type strategy when it comes to pits and stuff. But a little different with this car as tonight. Like you said, Grant came out here and told us a little bit. Typical Martinsville around here, going to be a little tight. Guys, man, going to have to try heavy on the brakes. Brake fade's going to be another one, but fuel should not be a problem here tonight. He said he can run well over 100 laps, which we only got 110 here tonight. I think it's more the tire wear and how much that tire falls off on this car. Now, Joshua, I don't know about you. I'm going to go ahead and admit it. I don't know a lot about ARCA cars other than what I've read and seen and talked about and learned, other than the fact that I know they're less horsepower than your normal, obviously, trucks, Xfinity, Cup, and maybe have way more downforce and so on. It's more of an entry-level style car. Other than that, it's kind of about it because I just don't keep up with the ARCA series.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you, to be honest, Joe. I don't know a whole lot about this car. I personally haven't run any laps with it. I was thinking that I would try to be part-time when I can, but just with my schedule, I don't know how much I'm going to be able to get out here, but I'm just as content being up here in the booth and watching these guys. But yeah, I can only talk, what Jacob told us pre-race. He said it's very equivalent to like the Gen 6 Cup car. He said it's a lot more aerodynamic than the older model. Obviously, aerodynamics won't play too much of a factor tonight at short tracks, but Jacob's doing a really good job right now, kind of controlling this race. That being out front here in that clean air, he's able to kind of take care of his brakes, and you notice as he goes through the corner there, he's just trying to, what you want to do in the center of the corner is just, have that roll speed through the corner and get off the brake as soon as you can and let it just roll and rotate through the corner and get a nice drive off. So I grew up a huge Jeff Gordon fan, so I watched Jeff absolutely dominate so many races here at Martinsville Speedway, and Jacob's doing a really good job controlling this race right now.
Yeah, you brought that up too. Brakes is one thing that drivers, and we don't talk a lot of. I don't really talk a lot of it because you don't see a lot of tracks where you from here. Definitely you will. Brake fade is something that you hear a lot of in road racing because they use so much of it. This track they will after a while. They'll feel it. But like what you said, he's able to modulate that car very well. Other thing I brought up last week there, Josh, was seeing the inside view. Digital dashboard. That was unique to me because with this being such an entry level, and when I say drill, I don't have no disrespect to what they do out here, but entry level for them to have the digital dash like that, I figured it was still analog, and the truck series still having a analog style stuff. Kind of surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, it's cool. I think it's just kind of part of where the technology is advanced, but I agree with you, with this being an entry-level series, it's kind of cool to see them go to a digital dash, and obviously we know the Gen 7 Cup cars, have that digital dash and everything. So
does Xfinity also?
I don't believe Xfinity has the digital dash. I do actually think the trucks have switched over now.
They have
in real life to the digital
lately.
dash.
Okay.
So yeah, it's interesting. So I'll have to keep an eye to see if Xfinity, because if that's the case, they might be the only series that doesn't have the digital dash right now. So, I think in my opinion, the Xfinity car is the best one out there, just for real life racing right now.
You talk about it. We talk about the difference between racing. And we talked about this car right here, the ARCA Series, still, Jacob Grant here tonight doing an outstanding job. This car very similar to what the truck would be. The truck obviously a little more horsepower, but downforce wise, they're going to be kind of close, like talking. And they almost might be close to the downforce of what the Cup car is because of how they've just built that Gen, the new Gen style car. Oh, he slams the wall there. Murphy does. As far as horsepower, they're way different. But, we talk about the tech, we talk about that on these cars. I guess that's why they use this as a stepping stone to get into the series throughout the next. But we talk about the Xfinity car. That one, to me, is probably the one that is totally different from any other car as far as downforce, power, or anything else. It still has its own unique attribute about it.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would like to see the Cup car, go back to something that's closer to what we see in the Xfinity car, because I know I say back in the day, which is probably not the same as me for you, Joe. Not trying to throw any old jokes at you, but
you're right.
Again, back in the day, the Xfinity car, or the old school Busch Series car, was used as the stepping stone to the Cup because they were very similar cars, and the only difference was really the whole horsepower. But in terms of the handling and everything, it was very similar. And now you're exactly right. I mean, they're two completely different beasts.
And I think that brings back the maybe the problem or the lack of a better word, argument or discussion that I see in real world racing. Don't want too far off of good racing on here, but maybe the problem that they're having is a contact with a 9.
Oh yeah!
Wow. Okay, but he was able to save that thing, man. Wow.
Yeah, that was Tanner Honeycutt there in the 9. That's right. Also, right, looks like the 9 of Tanner Honeycutt's coming to pit road here. He did a good job saving that going up the hill. One thing I wanted to point out
damage, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe did he hit the wall? It looked like he just kind of got out of the groove there.
Brushed it a little bit, but that's not. Oh, if I can go back far enough here, let's see if I can go. It right there was watching that pack.
There's the 91 of Ross Tatum behind him.
Yeah. And the, obviously, you're trying to pass here. It's so tough to pass. You're going to get, kind of clammed up here a little bit. And yeah, it looks like he just drove it in.
Oh, yeah. It looked like the 8 car got into the back of him of Daniel Miller there.
I mean, a bad hit. I mean, no worse than I've seen anything else. But yeah, he's definitely on pit road. Obviously got a little bit of damage, but hey, it's short track racing.
A couple of movers just to keep an eye on here, Joe, is Ross Tatum is making his debut tonight. Who's our back-to-back Truck Series champion, and Rob Sherwood now kind of, you see him squeaking by Caleb Smith there. Keep an eye on that 91 and 93, and I'm not trying to be biased because they're my S&P teammates, but they really are 2 phenomenal drivers. I'm really fortunate to be on a team with them. Ross Tatum, I know Rob Sherwood always jokes and calls him his iRacing GOAT, but Ross is just a special driver. He really is. I mean, he's back-to-back champion. He got the win on Monday night, and it's just we're lucky to have him as part of our team and to be able to try to learn from him. But these 2 right here are very, very good on long runs. I don't care what kind of vehicle they're in. So as this race continues to progress, keep an eye on both of these 2 guys. If they can get up toward the top 5, I think they could really give Jacob Grant a run for his money. But Jacob is also a phenomenal short track driver. Always tends to be up front with these races. So 35 laps in already, Joe. These guys are doing a really good job tonight.
Absolutely. So far, been clean and green here tonight. Jacob Grant's designs here for our ARCA Series. It has been a good one, like you just said. Watching Ross Tatum, he's up 9 spots. Sherwood right behind him, up 13 in the back. We were talking about brakes a minute ago. This is something that's very interesting. You just see right there flash going by. You saw those rotors go red. Normally, you do not see both front and back go red. Maybe that is something different on this car, because normally you see the fronts mostly on a Cup, Xfinity, or truck, but this is kind of even amongst all the tires there, because that's kind of unique. Jacob,
can we take a look at our leader real quick, Joe, to see if it's the same? I'm just curious if it's per car, or if all the cars are doing it.
We'll watch right here. Yeah, they're all doing. Wow.
Yeah,
that's unique, because
it really is.
Wow.
And that's Martinsville. Any kind of short track, you generally have a lot of front brake dialed into these cars. That looked a little bit different there. It looked like more on the front there, but yeah, that was pretty unique, Joe. I know with these being a fit setup, there's really not a whole lot of adjustments you can do. Really, the only 2 things that we can do as drivers is we can adjust our brake bias and our steering ratio. So steering ratio is more just for comfort feeling. Obviously, the higher steering ratio you do, the more it requires you to turn the wheel. Some people swear by a higher steering ratio, able to save tires. I think it truly is just more of a comfort thing. But the brake bias is something that you can really mess with, and it kind of changes, the feeling of the car. So, some of these guys might have more front brake than others. But yeah, that was a really good point by you to see the glowing on both the front and the rear. You don't normally see that kind of thing.
Another thing I'm noticing too here is a little bit more of the cooling effect too, and that's one of the things you see in real life. These guys have to get these brakes so cooled down. They have a lot more ducts built for short track racing. Noticing they're cooling a lot quicker here. When they go red, they come back down really quick. But yeah, I think that's just like you said, it's a brake bias. He could have his more evenly balanced out here, because you still see it right there with Jacob. Maybe his is a little bit less on the back, so maybe a little more brake bias going front, and then a lot more. But it is interesting. That's maybe just the difference in this car that we were talking about. What's the difference in this car and most of the other ones? And that's one of them right there, along with, the horsepower, downforce, so forth. But Jacob Grant right now is one thing here, Joshua, in Martinsville. Once you get in the traffic as a leader, trouble, man, is around every corner because you just don't know what's going to happen.
Well, and it's just a frustrating thing as a leader. I mean, Jacob's, pulled out to almost a 3-second lead right now, but especially as we get later into the race, you can.
Oh,
yep,
wow.
right there. Oh no, and he's caught up.
We just talked about it.
That is going to be our first caution. Oh my goodness.
Go back and watch it here on the replay. Man, caution out. We were just talking about it.
That might have been a commentator's curse on it right there, Joe. Holy cow.
Oh, looks like 16 just got in there. Yeah, the 10, my bad. And then
got in the
Wayne
43.
paid the price. Looks like Jacob didn't get much damage out of that, though.
Yeah,
he should be
thankfully,
okay.
I think you're right, Joe. I think it just might be some minor cosmetic on the front. I'm interested to see if he did get any optional, if he's going to take time to fix it. If I were him, I would probably not. If it's nothing too bad, and try to keep your trap position, and you want to stay out front as long as you can.
Like right now, I mean, everybody should come into pit road. Tires, we talked about it earlier on, and Jacob came up here and told us fuel mileage really not going to be the concern here tonight. It's all going to be about the tires, which 30-some laps into this, actually 40-some laps into this one, they look still pretty strong as they did out front. Looks like he didn't take any optional at all. So a typical Martinsville, maybe just a slight, no more than probably a bump and run there. Lucky for him, he was far enough away, he got slowed up. If it's maybe been like a mile and a half or mile track, that happened, he might have had a little more damage.
I agree with you, Joe. I don't think, with it being a short track, I don't think a little bit of, front end damage is going to hurt him too bad here. And hopefully he can, maintain this trap position up front. And the only thing that might be a little bit of an issue is, if he ends up losing that lead, that kind of clean air, we can see if it's going to be any kind of effect on him. But with it being a short track, normally you can bend these up pretty good. I'm sure you've seen them too. Cars looking like modified sometimes running out there, and they're able to still keep up good pace. So fortunate for Jacob.
Noticed that last week there, Joshua, when they hit the wall, these cars, the front ends did come off a little bit easier, it seemed like, than a lot of the other cars.
Yeah, that might be part of that updated damage model that they did with these cars. So keep an eye on what we talked about earlier too, Joe. We got Ross Tatum and Rob Sherwood up to 5th and 6th here. So they're very working their way toward the front here. So this will be kind of the first test for Jacob Grant to see if he can pull away.
Pace cars in, going set to go back green. Platinum Service VA here tonight. Green flag going to be in the air. Jacob Grant's going to bring them to the line. Like you said, got a couple heavy hitters coming to the front. Grant, man, fools the field.
What a start.
And just a start. Yeah, he does. Boy, I tell you what, that was a good fake out right there.
Yeah, that was he got a fantastic restart right there. Man, I love that John Deere scheme there on the 89 of Bobby Mantle. That is a nice looking vehicle right there.
I tell you talk about it, man. I did that earlier. This is my shot that I love showing off y'all's paint jobs when I talk about them a lot. As you see right now, man, Bobby's going to the front. What happened to Jacob?
Yeah, Joe, I was just about to say we had Jacob and Seth Foudy, the 07 pull off. They may have gotten some kind of penalty.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
man, that
that is
detrimental.
I mean,
oh, wow. It looks like it's a holding penalty as well.
Yeah, I mean, you can see maybe a stop and go there for Seth, but a holding one for Jacob. Wow, you want to talk about a crusher. That right there pretty much, I'm not going to say it does him in the race, but that's going to be a hard one to come back from here, especially on the short track.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, up front, though, dang, that's a tough one. We'll have to maybe get some insight here in a little bit and try to figure out what happened to Jacob out there. Maybe Joshua can do some investigating reporting for us here.
Yeah, I'll see if I can see what happened there. But meanwhile, we got the 89 of Bobby Mantle. We were just talking about it, Joe, that really nice-looking John Deere scheme. He's taking advantage and put it out front now.
He has. Bobby, man, got around Tyler Honeycutt who has been really quiet. But you talk about Ross Tatum right there behind him. He's chomping at the bit, up 12 along with Rob Sherwood pulling his teammate with him. Caleb Smith had a great finish. Like I said, finished second last week, almost pulled off the win. He's looking strong tonight. You got Daniel Miller there in the 6th, and then look who, the man right there, Chris Smith, up there again in 7th. Well, the ARCA Series might be his golden ticket here. He's done an outstanding job now sitting here. I don't want to jinx him, but he's doing good so far.
Yeah, I got to give Chris Smith his flowers where they're due, man. I mean, like I said, I've been racing with him as well for about 5 years, and Chris is probably one of the most improved drivers that I've seen. I know he'll probably tell you otherwise. He's a really humble guy, but he just does a really good job of keeping his car out of trouble and keeping all his fenders on it. And again, I hope I'm not jinxing him either, but that's what's going to ultimately make you a better driver, though. Joe, like they say, in order to finish first you must finish, right? And I think there's no better example of that than Chris Smith being able to complete laps and hang around in these races, and that's ultimately going to give you experience to continue to get better.
Yeah, we talk about Ross Tatum and Sherwood right there. We know they're teammates. At what point, and I know, you've been out there on the track with them many times. Get your thought pattern as if you're in that car right there, Joshua, what is your game plan here? I mean, laps are going to wind down very quickly at more green flags that we go. At what point do you say, okay, Tatum, it's go time?
Yeah, I think, knowing these two how I do, they like to kind of get all they can get on the restart, and then we call it settling in, right, where you just kind of ride in line, where you don't do anything too crazy. You can manage your tires. You can see the 45 here of Tyler Honeycutt making a move for the lead. This is where, if I'm the 91 or 93, take advantage of the 45 doing the hard work here. He's going to put the 89 of Bobby Mantle up on the high side and just try to follow that 45 through. You can see the 89 getting in the wall a little bit there, but look, they're going to try to follow him right through and just kind of, run their race, and then they can take advantage when it's time.
Typical Martinsville, side by side here. As you can see, man, Tatum's still going to be on the inside of him. And Mantle, just nothing he can do. Kind of trapped up on that top side because he sees nothing but a freight train behind him of Sherwood, Smith, Miller back there. And unless that gap opens up, he can't do anything to get back down on the inside unless one of those guys just, make a mistake. Looks like maybe Sherwood. Nope, Sherwood.
He thought about it, Joe. He thought about trying to jump down in front of Rob, but he wasn't quite clear.
He's still fighting, though. I'll give him credit. The problem is here is, getting in the turns. He can get off that turn pretty good, but getting into it and through the middle, that's where they get you at here. And after a while, it just, that outside lane just gives way. He might be able to get in front of Caleb here. I don't know. Well,
Rob Sherwood
he's tearing that wall up, though.
Golly, yeah, he's doing the best he can, but he's stuck right now. So.
Maybe he's thinking they got a John Deere mower out there in that thing, and that's grass on the outside instead of a concrete
Trying to get
wall.
some grass up there. Absolutely.
Right now, you see Mantle. Looks like he might get in front of Caleb, but Caleb got stuck back here battling with Miller. So a good opening there for Mantle, but the problem is he lost 3 spots. Now we go back to Tatum and Sherwood, and I'm with you. I think at this point they just sit here, ride until maybe towards the end or something happens, and see what the 45 does up front. Does he get scared because he sees 2 teammates behind him?
Yeah, we got a long ways to go, Joe. We're only 65 laps in out of 110, so we still got 45 laps to go here. So, Rob and Ross are exactly where they want to be right now. They can both see the leader. They're going to give each other room and take their time, and then I guarantee you when Ross goes to make the move, Rob is going to go to follow him through. And got to give a shout out real quick to Tyler Honeycutt leading this field.
Yes.
Tyler has his own Xfinity series that he puts together on Tuesday nights, and
nice.
I just raced with him last night in Talladega, and he actually won that race, and I finished second right behind him. So
nice.
It's just fun to see a bunch of these guys. There's a lot of crossover between different leagues, and I know some of these guys like Jordan Trask. I mean, he runs like 8 or 9 leagues, and so it's pretty cool to see some of the crossover. You get to race with a lot of the same guys. So far beyond, Monday night, and we got a yellow flag here, Joe.
Yeah, Foudy, man. Seth Foudy, who had the penalty earlier. Man, you want to talk about a crushing night for him so far. Was up to second place. Let's go back on the replay here. See what happened. He's right there in that white car. Up a little high, maybe gets a little help from the 46. Yeah, a little bump.
A little help there.
And he's stuck. Oh, I thought he was stuck for a second.
Well, now here's going to be the question, Joe. So Jacob told us, before we went live, that they've got 2 sets in the pits here. Okay. Everyone's used one. You got one left. Do you use it now or do you wait?
It's a clean racing league. You've heard me say it a million times, Joshua. It's in the name. It's only been 2 cautions so far. We've had some long green flag runs, and those long green flag runs has went anywhere from 30 to 40 laps. You just said it. We've only got about 40 some laps left here, maybe 30 some now. I mean, not saying it can't be another caution, but it could go green. I mean, I don't know. If you're in the back, let's say maybe right about 12, 13, 14. Sure, come in, take them. Obviously, if you're up front, you can already see these guys not going to take it. But maybe in the back,
I think you're exactly right, Joe. I think the first one who opted to come in was Caleb Smith, your old broadcast buddy. So what a switcheroo here, huh?
Yeah, he did an outstanding job there, and I think that's a smart move on his end. Because tires at this track, yes, they matter. I've talked about this on many tracks, and unfortunately, a lot of tracks, even in real life, they come down to track position. Well, even Jacob said track position. Martinsville, yes, still is almost a track position style track, but tires can matter. The thing about it is how easily Caleb's going to be able to get through the field. That's going to be the other thing. Without getting any damage or anything like that. Hopefully don't get into trouble or a restart or something like this. So we'll have to see some of those guys in the back that got the tires. Yes, they're going to have a little bit of advantage. I still feel like, though, man, Honeycutt and the guys up front should be okay for a while. And you know and I know, Joshua, time runs out. But pace car's in. We're going back green here for the Platinum Service VA green flag here tonight. Grant's Designs, ARCA Series. And a new man out front there, Tyler Honeycutt's going to bring him to the line. And he gets a good jump out front over Tatum and company. The problem Tatum doesn't like is he's going to have to start on the outside. And Sherwood's going to give him that inside and maybe let him get down on the bottom.
Yeah, it's looks like Ross is able to slide back into second there. And look at the 89 there. Bobby Mantle is still trying to work that outside there, Joe.
Yeah, got no choice now. And, boy, he has got a slew of cars behind him. Good news is, though, they're kind of spread out right behind that 8 machine. He might be able to get back in the line. Meanwhile, we talked about Caleb Smith on the new tires. He's probably going to need some help. You're going to see him slicing and dicing through this field. He's the first one on newer tires. Him and Joe Spinelli. Well, there's a name we don't talk about a lot unless, well, unfortunately, him and Barrels. They love each other. It's ongoing thing.
Joe's great, man. I've gotten to know Joe a little bit across other leads, and he's got a great sense of humor. So
yeah, he does.
Yeah, good to see him doing well tonight, though. Just real quick, Joe, I did do some investigative reporting. Okay. I heard from Jacob. He said he and Seth both got a passing under yellow black flag.
Oh, man.
So just absolutely brutal, and that's just part of this league and the Clean Racing truck series is
sorry about that.
Some trouble right here.
Yeah, Joe Spinelli unfortunately got up on the wall, and Zachary Peterson is going to pay the price. Actually, excuse me, Zachary Foudy. I don't know why I said Peterson, so you're seeing Peterson, but Foudy, man, had paid the price. We see it. Joe got up the wall there,
way out of the groove, and not sure what happened there. Golly. But just to finish my thought real quick, Joe, so Jacob and Seth both got a passing under yellow.
Wow.
And this series is like the the Monday Night League where they will not clear black flags.
Yeah.
So
I like that. I like that rule. I really do. I know some guys don't. I know it's a controversial thing, but I really like that there, Josh.
Yep, I think the most important thing, no matter what you do, is just having consistency across the board. So if you're going to say
100%.
we're not going to clear black flags, then you got to just go with it. And then if you want to say per admin's discretion, then let it be that as well. So, but unfortunately, Jacob and Seth both are victims of that tonight. And gosh, we saw how strong Jacob was earlier. I hate to see that for him and Seth, because I was really looking forward to seeing Jacob battle, Tatum and Sherwood and Honeycutt. That would have been a really good race between those four. So just unfortunate tonight for Jacob and Seth.
I'll tell you what, we're under caution right here tonight. My third one. It's been a very good race here so far tonight. Grant's Designs, ARCA Series here, putting it on for us with Shady Brook Farms here too, coming on board. Got a lot of great sponsors out there, folks. Also got to give a shout out to, I think it's Denny White, who is one of the sponsors, doing a sponsor for this race here tonight here at Martinsville. The Martinsville 50 here, presented by Denny White, that is. So, not sure who Denny White is. Danny White. Yeah, Danny White, my bad. I'm not sure who Danny White is. Maybe somebody Jacob knows. I mean, if Jacob sends you a message or a message or whatnot, let me know who Danny White. But if you're out there listening, and we appreciate everybody out there listening, tuning in, definitely we appreciate the sponsorship tonight. Along with Ghost Athletics, Grant's Designs, CRL podcast. Check it out on Spotify and YouTube. SimRacingMerc.com. Use the promo code CRL2025. Get you some off on that one. Turtleback Trailer Park Boys, man, gotta love it. I love the name. It's just so wild. Talk to some of the guys been in there, but getting set to go back green for the Platinum Service VA. Green flag here. It's been Honeycutt out front, and at some point Tatum and Sherwood got to think about something back there, but you still got Caleb Smith back there and all them on those new tires.
That's right. Caleb's slowly working his way forward. And, gosh, it looks like Rob's going to give Ross a run for his money here. He might have him clear, and he does. Rob Sherwood up to second.
Yes, it is. Like you said, Sherwood second. Man, puts Tatum right behind him. Here comes Daniel Miller. And Caleb Smith with those new tires. Well, he's the newest one out there. Wow. And Bobby Mantle, who has newer tires also. But we got a big one in the back.
Oh, we got another caution.
A couple. Yeah, that's Brad Miller. Wayne's involved with that one. Let's see what happened back here in the back. There. Got a feeling it. Well, no, it's hard here. Oh, it just looks like he got loose a little bit and had a little help. Our car in front of him actually got loose. I'm not sure who got.
Yeah, I think it was the 18. Looked like he got a little loose under braking maybe. And
watch it one more time here. See if we can get another idea here. Brad's right there in the black car there, Joshua. Oh, he just got in the back end of the car in front.
Yeah, kind of one of those little accordion fit deals. It looked like Bradley Murphy got into Abram Ghost just a little bit right there, and just kind of one of those short track accordion effects.
Tyler Honeycutt on pit road.
Oh, this is interesting, Joe. I don't know about this one.
Okay, now this brings up the other thing here for you, Joshua. I know it's like Ghost last past Monday. He was. Look, he was pulling for his great car, Jacob Grant. He wanted him to get up our bad. Ross and looks like Sherwood up front now. But you've got
Rob
Caleb back there in those new tires.
I
mean, at what point does Ross and him go, man, we're at a disadvantage here?
Well, I think Caleb's on a really good strategy right now, because Caleb took those four fresh tires. They're about 24 laps newer than what Rob and Ross are on. He's up to P4, and then you got a whole bunch of guys. Let's see, looks like a bunch of guys pitted on lap 77, and then it looks like a couple came in this caution as well with Tyler Honeycutt. So I think a lot of this, I think a lot of this is going to just kind of depend on where the cautions fall now. This is always kind of the guessing game at the end of these short tracks, because you want to kind of be on the right cycle, if that makes sense, of fresh tires.
Oh, yeah.
I think Rob and Ross are kind of banking on probably seeing, they almost want to see a lot of cautions at this point to click off the laps. It's going to be interesting, Joe, but these two are also some of the best there are at saving tires, so
good news
it's going to be fun to
Caleb
watch
on the outside.
Yep.
There is a good
Caleb's
news to
gonna
this,
have
so.
to. Caleb's going to need to make quick work of the 8 of Daniel Miller as quick as he can, and if he can do that, then he can set his sight on the 2 teammates here.
Race cars in, going to set here to go back green. Platinum Service VA green flag tonight here. The man out front, Rob Sherwood. He came from the back. You want to talk about starting from the bottom, and he came to the front. He did, and right now, sitting out front, you see Ross Tatum along with him. And this might be a smart move. Tatum out there, and that's going to slow Caleb up just a little bit, allow Daniel Miller to get right back in the line. So now Caleb's going to have to work around that number 8 machine.
Yeah, they played that really, really well.
Is Miller part of the team there with them? Or is he a different team?
He's not. Oh, we got another caution, Joe.
Yeah, Tyler Honeycutt. Wow. Just out front leading.
Oh, man.
And this is typical short track racing. You get back in the pack, you just never know what's happening. He's got new tires. Oh, and got a bump. Whoa. It was almost a good bump and run, but just sent him a little bit too much into it. And that took out, actually, that got Joe Spinelli, Seth Fowley.
Yeah, it looked like Honeycutt made an aggressive move to the bottom there, and it looked like Chris Smith got in the back of Honeycutt.
It's the 45 machine right there. He's going in the back, and then and just that's almost braking difference. Just out.
Yeah.
That's just short track racing, and that's a product of what happens when you get into traffic. We talked about with the leader. We saw it earlier with Jacob. You just never know. Disaster around every turn.
Well, and that's the risk, Joe, of, that's why I was a little surprised to see Honeycutt give up the lead there, because when it gets late with these short tracks, generally the intensity ramps up and everyone's trying to get all they can get on the restarts. And, I'm kind of surprised he took himself out of that clean air, that good track position, leading the race to kind of put himself back in the hornet's nest. And, unfortunately got right in the eye of the storm there.
You talk about the 2 guys up front right now. It's getting set to go back green here. Rob Sherwood out there. He has been in the Final Four last couple seasons in the Clean Racing League on the Monday night with the trucks. Fortunately, just coming up a little short on trying to win a championship. But the man behind him has done something very impressive and history-making. His first 2 seasons in the series on Monday night, winning a championship. And then, like you just said, this past Monday winning, which actually locks him now into the playoffs and a chance to win another championship, a 3rd one, which would just be wow. I don't know the word to say about that one there, Joshua. That would just be amazing.
Yeah, not to toot my team's own horn, Joe, but SMB Motorsports has won 4 out of the last 5 seasons.
There you go.
I did a good job of throwing that one away. We all remember that Ghost won when I had some aggressive blocking with Jamie Horn there, and could have been 5 in a row for SMB Motorsports, but. We'll save that story for another day because we're about to go back green.
We are. Base cars in, getting set to go green here tonight. Grant's Designs, but the Platinum Service VA green flag's about to fly. And Rob Sherwood, he started, folks, when I say in the back, he started literally in the back on the 20th spot and is now up to the lead. Lee can maybe try to win this thing. Ross Tatum there, but look at Caleb Smith. He's got other plans. He's battling hard. He knows time's running out, and if it goes green, these laps will click off very quick, so he has to make his move now.
Yep, Caleb's got to make quick work of this 8 car here of Daniel Miller if he wants to have a shot, because the other thing to keep in mind, Joe, as we've already talked about, he's been lining up on the outside, which is not the preferred groove there. So if he can get by this 8, he will line up in 3rd place behind our leader, Rob Sherwood, on one of these restarts.
And the good thing that I know that Sherwood and Tatum like to see, and you just talked about him being on the outside, the problem with that is it is using his tires up, and the more he does that, the more it's just going to use them up. And you see Bobby Mantle, we're not talking too much about Bobby, but Bobby has probably the freshest tires out there. He put in lap 77, Joshua, and had 4 tires, and now you see him able to make that pass on Caleb. So don't look now. Bobby was up front earlier, but Rob Sherwood and Tatum right now are trying to check out.
Yeah, no, that's not what Caleb Smith wanted to see. Have a car pass him that's got even fresher tires than him. So now our attention turns to Bobby Mantle. If Bobby can get to third, and then we see a caution, that could spell trouble for the S&B guys.
Time's running out right now very quickly as green flags fly. We've got about 14 or so to go here. Sherwood out front. You got Tatum in second. Miller there in third. Mantle holding in fourth. Smith there in the fifth place. Abram Ghost up 8 spots. And that Ghost Athletics machine looking strong there in the 6th place. Then Chris Smith, who had that awesome win last week in the first ever here with the ARCA Series at Daytona, still holding on there in 7th. Bradley Murphy there in 8th. And you've got David B. He's going to be Brisky, I hope I said it right there, in the 9th place, along with Seth Foudy, who has had a couple spins here tonight and has still been able to bounce back.
He was one of those as well, Joe, that got that penalty with Grant. Yeah. So, really good bounce back for him to be back up to the 10th spot.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm looking right now. You talk about Jacob Grant. Jacob Grant's hoping maybe for one more caution because he'll get the lucky dog if so.
The only problem, Joe, though, he's 2 laps down, so he's going to need 2 to get back in contention here. And we're coming to 10 to go, Joe.
Yeah, it's going to, the laps are going to click off quick here, short track. Now, Tatum's got to think about it. I know it's my teammate up there, but, what do you do in this situation there, Joshua? You want to win the race, but, wow.
Yeah, I think the rule that we try to abide by, that probably most teams do, is let's make sure one of us wins. Let's just not do something stupid to take each other out. But I think
what do you do,
you're going to see Ross. Yeah, I mean, why not? It's racing at the end of the day, right? So we're not F1 here. We don't have team orders and we don't just ride around and finish 1-2. We're going to race it out. So
Tatum now looking pretty strong.
Little blinky there. Yeah.
He looks a little better in the middle of the turn there and coming off than what Sherwood does. Sherwood looks a little better going in, but that middle off is where Tatum, he gets a lot better drive, but again, it's just so hard to pass here.
Yeah, it's almost like Tatum's kind of ducking out just a little bit to get a little bit of air on that and kind of work on that little arc there. But I think it's just 2 different driving styles. Rob's kind of planted, to the inside of that apron, trying to wrap that apron as much as he can. And Ross is kind of having a little bit of a wider arc on entry, trying to see if he can get a little bit of a run.
To me,
5 to go, though.
Yeah, 5 to go. And to me right now, I think about the only way, because Sherwood's not going to give that inside lane up, not easily anyway, is that little bit of, I call it the bump back, if Tatum can get up there. So, because I just don't see him making a pass on the outside. Just don't have that fresh of a tires.
Yeah, and now we officially just took the 5 to go right now, and it looks like Rob is just ever so slightly getting a little bit of a gap here. So if Ross is going to go for that bump and run, he's got to be close.
And you got to time it. We talked about it. It's something that you got to be strategic, because you mentioned it earlier. When you do it, you better run, and you don't want to do it too early. You don't want to do it too late. So you got to do it that right time. Right now, you see Tatum. He's in that Jaws mode right behind Sherwood. Back here, too, a little battle going on for 3rd and 4th. We got Miller and Mantle. Those 2 guys are still going at it, and they've got a gap between Smith and Ghost back there, which are in 5th and 6th. But Bobby right now, like he's going to work over. Both of them hit the wall.
He's doing the best he can, but these 2 leaders have pulled away from everybody else. Coming to 2 to go now.
Woo, 2 to go tonight here, Grant's Designs. Martinsville under the lights. Boy, typical short track racing, and kind of liking these ARCA cars, man. It's bringing about some great racing. And Mantle all night long just tore that wall down. If this was Darlington, he definitely had multiple Darlington stripes.
White flag is in the air, Joe. The leaders have taken it. Rob Sherwood down into 1. If Ross Tatum's got anything, he's got to show it now, but I don't think he's going to be close enough.
No, he's not. 3 and 4. Final time. The lap car won't be a factor for Sherwood. Tatum not close enough, but Rob Sherwood from the back, and literally from the back, last place, brings it up here to win it tonight here at Martinsville for the Grant's Designs, presented by Danny White here tonight, and Ross Tatum, the teammate right behind him. Daniel Miller coming home in 3rd. Boy, Joshua, that What a performance. That was just incredible.
Super proud of my boys right there, man. That was that was awesome to see. Rob and Ross, two of the best out there, man. Like I said, I hate Jacob got that penalty. I would have loved to see the battle between Grant and if Honeycutt, could have stayed up there as well. But congratulations to Rob Sherwood. Absolutely did a phenomenal job tonight.
Yeah, who knows what it would have been turned out, like you said, if the penalty wouldn't have hit Jacob out there. But, that's racing. Sometimes, man, you have good luck, bad luck on your side. But we'll get some of these guys up here in a few minutes, get a word in with them. As looks like we got the winner up here with us, Rob Sherwood. And Rob, when I say literally, man, starting at the bottom and coming to the top, you definitely did it. You started in the back and drove your way all the way to the front. First off, why was you starting in the back? Did you have a bad qualifying?
Yes, I do, in fact, suck at qualifying.
Okay, a good answer on that one. Now, the second one is, how nervous was you coming through the field here at Martinsville because anything could happen?
Yeah, I mean, you're always nervous coming through the field here. I mean, you don't want to obviously run through people to get to the front, and so you want to be super patient. And I was kind of scared there for a minute because Jacob, just with the clean air and everything, just got out to such a big lead, because obviously that's the downside to starting in the back, is you really put yourself in a hole. So it helped that we got the caution. But it was honestly fun just getting out here running some laps. I love this track, and honestly, it's just fun to pass a bunch of people.
How nervous was your teammate behind you?
Not nervous at all. If there was one person I wanted in there, it was him. He told me, he was like, "I'm not going to give you the bumper." He was going to play clean, but I told him, I was like, "I don't care, man."
Joshua said he would now. Joshua said, "Hey, look," because I asked that question. I said, "Well, do you think you would?" They said, "Hey, no team orders."
I literally told Ross, I said, "Josh is up there in the booth rooting for you to bump me out of the way here. I hope you know that."
Well, hey, I think you remember the last time we were both here in the series, don't you?
I don't remember what you're talking about.
Joe, you may have missed that one, but that's a story for another day. But Rob, congrats, buddy. I know this was kind of a last minute deal for you tonight. What is it about Martinsville, man, that made you so good here?
I don't know. Maybe it's because we've been to enough races. You know what I mean?
That is very true. When you saw Jacob get the penalty, that seemed like kind of the turning point in the race, and you and Ross did a really good job of working your way through the field. What was kind of the thought process once Jacob got the penalty?
Yeah, I mean, once he got the penalty, I felt better restarting up towards the front. I knew Tyler and Bobby were fast, and I think it was Seth that got the penalty as well. So obviously it makes it easy when that's two people that you don't have to pass. But, at that point, it was just restarting from 5th, 6th place is a lot different than starting from 20th. So at that point, you kind of are putting yourself in a spot where you're just hoping that you get another caution, or you can just beat them on speed, which Ross and I were noticing our times at the end of the first green flag run. We were still able to run 5s and 6s. And we felt really confident about tire fall off, which is why we both stayed out so long, because, I think we saw some of the tires. It was so hard to pass. And, so we were very confident in our long run speed. So it helped to kind of finally get up to get some track position. And obviously, it sucks for them, but it also did help to just get 2 cars out of there that you didn't have to pass on speed.
You got anybody you want to thank for this awesome win here tonight?
Yeah, thank you guys. I missed having my buddy in the booth, or he came up and joined me in the booth, but I missed having him in our team chat tonight. So thank y'all for broadcasting. Thank Jacob for putting the time into the league to do this. Thank Ross for running with me. We had a great time tonight. So yeah, enjoyed it, boys.
There you go, Rob.
Congrats, man.
Man, that's awesome.
Thanks, brother.
Rob Sherwood, man, bringing it home tonight. I mean, just from the back to the front, that's, I think I've ever seen that, being done, especially on the short track. I mean, I've seen it done, I talk about it on super speedways, guys 2 laps down or something like that come, winning races. But on a short track, that is definitely phenomenal. Well, bring up old Daniel Miller here. Place, man, get a word in with him. Daniel, go up in the booth, got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Man, I tell you what, you was able to hold off Bobby right back there. He had a little fresher tires, coming around this track, but take us to a couple of them laps out there, man. You were fighting pretty hard.
Yeah, those were some good laps. I was really trying to block him there. I knew he had those fresher tires and he had the better runs on me there, but that was some fun racing, just blocking him and good old Martinsville racing.
Gotta ask, you're new to the league.
I am. I just
Right.
Daytona was my first race, so yeah, it's
Awesome.
my second. So
Well, I said a lot. I said Clean Racing League's in the name, and Joshua here in the booth with me. He's longtime veterans and expert on Monday night. So here tonight, and got anything for him there, Joshua?
Yeah. Congrats, Daniel, man, on your podium finish. Looked like you finished or you started P16, so to come from 16th all the way up to the podium, did a great job tonight. We saw you in the middle of the action a couple times there. What was your biggest challenge trying to get from your starting position up toward the front there?
I think a lot of it was just keep my lane, not really getting too aggressive and trying to stay out of the wrecks and stuff. I think pitting was a big thing. I was probably coming out 10th after the first pit stop, and then a lot of guys in front of me decided to pit for a second time, and I stayed out. So I think that worked out well.
Was that a hard decision? Because Joe and I were kind of keeping track on, you guys only had 2 extra sets tonight, so it was kind of a battle of, who was going to stay out for track position or come get tires. Was that kind of a hard debate for you, or were you pretty set on staying out?
I was like, I saw my tires at the end of the first stint, and they were still pretty good, and I was like, I'll just stay out for the rest of the race and see where I can end up at, and it ended up third, so it was like worked out.
Man. Well, congrats, man, and wish you the best of luck. I'll let Joe give you the platform to thank anyone, but congrats on your third place finish, and maybe we'll see you on Monday nights in the Truck Series sometime.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Well, Daniel, man, like you said, coming home tonight here, third place. I know it's a tough track, being in Martinsville, doing a fantastic job coming up. But man, you got anybody you want to thank, man, tonight for a good finish?
Probably just Zach and Seth Fowdy for racing with me the night we were talking. So thank them for having some chatter during the race, some strategy going on, and that was nice of them. So yeah.
Go third place, man. Old Daniel Miller, man, bringing her home. Well, this guy followed the leader tonight here and got up to second place. Boss, Joe in the booth, you got a copy?
Hey, what's up, Joe?
I'll tell you what, first place Monday, second place tonight, but I got to ask, and Joshua was up here wondering, was you thinking about a bump and run up there at any time to try to get around Rob, or was it just, hey, look, I didn't have enough to get around. I know this is a tough place to pass, but was it anything that you could have done to get around him?
Oh, gosh, I gave it everything I had. Rob was just better there at the end. I was just too tight in traffic. I needed a little bit of turn. Once you were behind someone, you just couldn't turn under them unless they had someone in front of them. So clean air was king, but Rob was lights out tonight, no mistakes. That was just great driving by him all around.
It was
one thing real quick.
Go ahead, Joe.
Rob came from the back. Obviously, you had a better qualifying. You were in front of him for the longest time, but then you made one little slip, and Rob was able to get around you. Did you feel like that was the move that he needed for the race?
Yeah. Once he got in front of me, that was. I was hoping that Honeycutt would stay out, and me and Rob would just keep flipping positions. I felt like one of us would get eventually by Honeycutt, but honestly, I couldn't believe Honeycutt pitted because there wasn't a whole lot of tire wear tonight. We were running our fastest laps there at the end. I think I hit like my fastest lap like 10 laps before the end of the race, so wasn't any tire wear. And yeah, I mean, it was basically whoever got out front between me and Rob, or even Tyler. Tyler would have been hard to pass too. So I needed Tyler not to pit right there, and then me to restart on the inside and maybe get back by Rob. But we were about the same speed, so whoever got out in front was probably going to win that.
Yeah, it was fun to watch you guys, Ross. I know this was kind of a last minute me jumping up in the booth tonight, so that was kind of fun. But I know I told Joe, I said I'm gonna try not to sound biased, but keep an eye on the 91 and 93 because I know how good you guys are at these short tracks. And what was that like early in the race, kind of driving up through the field there?
Well, it's tough. You know, we were expecting to have Spotter tonight. A good friend of ours was supposed to be in there with us, and he didn't show up. But I'm glad you're in the booth. That should be a good listen to go back to listen to. But yeah, it was a
spotting
lot
you
of
up
fun
here in the
driving up
booth.
through the field. Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
Josh is a really good broadcaster, so I like going back. He used to broadcast some other races, so he's always fun to listen to. But yeah,
I just like to talk.
Yeah, that's true too. That's why you're the best sales rep there is.
Me and you were good, man. We love talking.
That's right. Well, Ross, congratulations, man. It was fun. This was your first ARCA race, wasn't it?
Yeah, first ARCA race. I don't know how many I'll run. I probably won't run many, but it was a lot of fun. Once I saw Martinsville tonight, I couldn't pass it up. It's my favorite track, so couldn't pass that one up.
Okay. Well, the last thing I can ask you is, can you let me win? You know, just a couple on Monday night, man. I'm getting really tired of hearing this bat-to-bat champ stuff, and going for the 3P and all this stuff. So can you help me out and just let me win one or two every now and then? That'd be great.
He's got to show up for races first.
Yeah, we'll try to work something out Monday. We'll try to work.
All right.
Yeah, we'll try to get something going.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk
Oh, well, there you go. I tell you, that's Ross Tatum, man. You got anybody you want to thank for a good second place tonight?
Yeah, I got to thank my boys, Josh Altus and Rob Sherwood, and all the other S&B guys, Zach and Matt and Evan. I got to thank my wife and kid for letting me race. I got to abandon a Coaches League's baseball game today to come race this, so that was awesome. And you guys at OSR, I love going back and watching all these. Tomorrow will be a good one to go back and watch. And Chris and Ghost Athletics and everybody with the league. So thanks to everybody, and maybe come and race some more. We'll see.
Yo, second place man tonight, Ross Tatum. Well, Joshua, was an awesome one here tonight. Got to appreciate, man, Danny White bringing it, presenting this thing for us, sponsoring it. All our sponsors out there, Grant's Designs, and many more. Phenomenal night here at Martinsville, and who knew, man, starting from dead last, coming to the front and winning this thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was a phenomenal race. We're really proud of these guys, Joe. I know we had kind of a stretch of yellows there toward the end. That's to be expected on short track racing there, but gosh, I mean, they almost did a 50-lap stint to begin the night, and as much as we've praised the S&B guys and everything, you gotta have your heart hurts too for Jacob Grant. Set on the pole tonight, looked really, really strong, got out to an early lead, and unfortunately that black flag, passing under yellow. Unfortunately, just how it goes with sometimes iRacing, black flags are tough, and just part of it, unfortunately. So it's a tough one for Jacob Grant tonight. He'll come back strong, and but man, you got to give it to the S&B boys, man. Rob Sherwood getting it done, Ross Tatum finishing second, both driving through the field, and it was a fun one to watch. And I really appreciate you and Jacob for letting me come up in the booth tonight, man. Hopefully we can do it again.
Absolutely. I tell you what, it was definitely exciting. We're going to leave Martinsville under the lights here tonight for the Clean Racing League ARCA Series. Before myself and everyone, have a good night.